So, ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the Honorable Judge Abendroth?
Thank you. Please be seated. Welcome, everyone. So we're in Denmark. So this is the Kingdom of Denmark. So Denmark versus Hamlet. And our deputy will be here shortly, hopefully. And so is the Kingdom ready to proceed today? The prosecution?
Yes, sir.
You are. And the defense for Mr. Hamlet. Are you
Yes,
ready to
Your
proceed
Honor.
today? And I understand there's actually more than one attorney proceeding today with questioning. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will allow you to proceed how you would like on how you present your evidence as far as what attorney goes next. That's just fine. You don't have to ask for permission. Just go on forward and do it your way. And does the defense have more than one attorney that's going to be asking questions today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Same thing for each witness. That attorney that's assigned to that witness can just proceed forward. Okay? Are there any preliminary issues to address today prior to starting the trial? No? All right. We'll get started. The prosecution, this is your case, so therefore you may call your first witnesses. Let me do your opening.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carissa Wilkins, and I'm one of the prosecuting attorneys that will speak today. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something rotten in the state of Denmark, and it is the fact that Hamlet here is trying to get away with murder. Murder most foul of Lord Polonius, King Claudius, and the unfortunate Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. The issue at hand is if Hamlet was sane or insane at the time of these murders. And the burden is here on the defense to prove that Hamlet was indeed at the time. That he was incapable of distinguishing the difference of right or wrong. We are here to tell you he knew the difference between these two. Hamlet was to set the right of the wrong of his father's death, to get revenge. Revenge is what drives Hamlet in all of his actions. These aren't the acts of a crazy man, but the acts of a man who knew what he was doing and the right way to do it, by simply feigning insanity. The definition of insanity is as follows: exhibiting a severely disordered state of mind, unable to think in a clear or sensible way. My witnesses today will attest to the fact that he was sane and sensible in the way that he went about these killings, and he was in the right state of mind. At the conclusion of the case, after you have heard all the evidence and the testimonies of my witnesses, we are confident that you will return with a verdict of guilty.
Oh, thank you. You may be seated. And for the defense, the opening argument or statement.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the court. My name is Carrington Eckhart, and I am a defense attorney representing Hamlet in this very important case. In the spiral of tragic events, such as the death of his father, the sudden marriage of his mother to her brother-in-law, to then being ripped away from the love of his life, and the sudden death of this very woman, is it wrong for us to conclude that Hamlet went insane? We will prove to you that this man is not the man he once was. This man's mind is clouded with grief, with loss, and with many, many questions. We will prove from those closest to him that he was completely and utterly changed, that he is not the man he once was. This man is full of madness, a horrible state of mind causing tremendous amounts of insanity. So should we trust those who didn't know him personally, or those who knew him for short periods of time? Or should we trust those such as his mother or his girlfriend, who witnessed for themselves the insanity inflicted from these terrible events? Truly this case is the case of an insane man, and we believe he should be acquitted for his crimes.
Very well, thank you. Is the state ready to proceed, the prosecution? Now you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, I would like to call Horatio to the stand.
Horatio, please come forward. And I'll stand, we'll swear you in as witness, okay? You stand right there. Raise your right arm. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth, in the matter now pending before the court? So help you God?
Yes.
Very well. You may have a seat. You may inquire.
How are you today, Horatio?
I'm doing great.
What is your relationship with Hamlet?
Well, you see, me and Hamlet are best friends. We go way back. He tells me everything.
I heard you and a few others saw a ghost.
Yes, that is true. Me, Bernardo, and Marcellus are all out watching gates one day, and then this figure appeared. It was pretty scary, actually.
Sorry to hear that. Was there anything you did after you saw the ghost?
Yeah, so it kind of looked like Hamlet's dad, and so I figured he should probably see the ghost for himself.
What was Hamlet's reaction to seeing the ghost?
Oh, he was like in shock, surprised. I mean, I think he'd be a little freaked out if you saw your dad as a ghost.
Was there anything that happened afterwards?
Yeah, they went off together, and he said, "Don't follow me," and he pointed like a knife at me. He's like, "Don't follow me. Let me talk to him," but I was really scared for him.
So no one heard the conversation
No, I didn't.
besides Hamlet and the ghost.
Right.
Okay. Let's go forward a little bit. So Hamlet had you go to a play, right? That he made.
Yes.
Was there anything specific he asked you to do about the play?
He told me about this whole plan that he made up. He was going to see if his dad was killed by Claudius. And so he made this play to show how it happened, and then he told me to look at King Claudius to see if he was acting strange or feeling guilty.
Was there anything about the play that was oddly specific to Hamlet?
Yes, he had the actors change and change their certain part to have the king sleeping, and then a man came up and dropped a vial of something in his ear. Poison, right?
So he was smart about the way he went with the play.
Oh yeah, it was like a crazy cool plan, clear as can be, whoa, cool plan.
Let's go one more jump further. So Hamlet went on a trip because his father ordered him, right?
Yeah, to England.
When he came back from his trip, did he mention anything?
Yeah, he told me this whole story. Well, first he sent me a letter. He was like, "Horatio, you gotta send these people to this place," and then he was like, "I gotta tell you some big news when I get home, right?" So then when he came home, he was like, we were on a ship, and then a pirate ship came, and then he was on the ship, and then got onto the other pirate ship, and he was taken prisoner, right? And then, well, I think before he went and had this pirate ship attack, right, he made this letter to send with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to England, and it said, have these people be killed before they even see, a priest, and kill them, right away, right? And, yeah, what else?
May I bring evidence?
You may.
You let.
Okay, have the review what the evidence is.
Would you see it?
Oh, it's fine.
If you could, would you read this out loud for me?
Sure.
It's a little quick.
Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled bailer, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they took clear of our ship, and so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with it, as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear, will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the matters? These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Thank you.
Would you like that admitted into evidence?
Yeah.
Is there any objection to having that letter admitted into evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. We'll have it marked. You can bring it up here and put it right next to this. We'll have it marked as State's Exhibit number 1. And State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence at this time for the court's consideration. You may proceed. Thank you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well. And you may have a seat if you'd like, and the defense may cross-examine Horatio at this time. Feel free to move around the courthouse, move where you'd like.
Your Honor. Horatio. To start off, I want to ask you, can I call you Horatio? Can I? Okay. To start off, I want to ask you, did you ever hear the ghost speak?
No.
You did not hear the ghost speak.
No, I did not.
After the conversation with the ghost that Hamlet had, did he act irrational?
Well, I would say he was a little flustered.
Flustered? Anything
A
else?
little, I mean, it's reasonable the way he was acting. He saw his dead dad, right? They had a little chat. He came back a little scared.
See, he saw the ghost of his dead father, and you think he acted irrational, scared.
Yes.
Okay. About the letter.
Which letter?
The letter that was sent to... The letter that he wrote you about Rosencrantz that led to their death.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you about the contents of the letter.
Would you like the letter?
No, it's in deposition.
Very well.
So after he had talked about this letter, you had asked him something regarding this letter, and he said, and I quote, "Ere I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play." And to put that in simpler terms, he said, before I could even start processing the situation, they had started the ball rolling. And I was talking about the letter that led to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern's demise. What do you take from that?
I'm not really sure what you were saying, but I do know he said they deserved what they got.
Where did he say that?
That same page?
Would you like to point to me over on the page?
Yes. I would. Okay, it's on this page.
Take your time.
Um, well, it says right here, "Why, man, they did not make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience." So, to put that in simpler terms, it says, man, they were asking for it. I don't feel guilty about them at all.
He stated conscience, correct? He said they're not about his conscience. What do you think that means?
He did not care that they died.
So he wasn't conscious when they died.
No. He
He
knew
wasn't.
what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
He made a whole plan to kill them. He had to write a letter, and he told me about it. You want me to tell you about it again?
You can tell me about it again if you want, but I'm not going to ask.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you one more time. What do you think it means by not processing the situation and having the ball rolling when he's talking about the letter? So, in simpler terms, he didn't even know what he was writing in the letter. He said it just started. What do you think about that?
I think that Hamlet is a smart guy, and he knew that someone was coming after him to kill him, right? So he was trying to save his back and made this whole plan to get them killed, so he wouldn't get killed.
Do smart people know what they're writing in letters?
Yes,
How come we didn't know?
he does know. He told me again, later. That's just one thing.
When did he tell you that? What did he tell you later?
Go to that page again.
Where he wasn't conscious when he wrote the letter.
Go to that page.
Okay, we're going round and round. Did Hamlet ever tell you what King Hamlet said to him?
Yeah.
What did he say?
On what time?
The time that he told you.
I mean, there was many times. He told me everything.
He told you everything about what King Hamlet said.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know. So, do you know or you do not know?
What did Hamlet say?
I'm asking you.
About King Claudius.
About King Hamlet, the ghost of King Hamlet. The dead person.
Okay, I got
The
mixed
ghost
up.
talking to Hamlet. Sorry about that.
He said, he told me after they came back, he said, you better swear not to tell anyone. I might look a little crazy, but I know what I'm doing. Don't tell anyone.
So, did he ever tell you he's going to act strange in the future?
Yes, he did.
And what's your definition of strange?
Strange would be like,
Insane, maybe?
no. Strange is like, oh, you have weird shoes on. That's strange. Insane is like, that person's crawling on the ground barking. Hamlet never did that.
Back to the letter.
Okay,
The letter we were talking about when we went round and round.
you're right.
When writing a letter that leads to someone's death, don't you think, and you said that Hamlet, he was a master, like he made a master plan about it, right? And so he'd want...
That's not the only plan he made.
I'm not asking about those plans.
Okay.
I'm talking about the letter. So he wanted to make this master plan, right? How come he said he didn't even get his own ball rolling? He started just writing for himself, as if he wasn't lucid. What do you take by that?
You can say that like anytime.
Like,
Like,
give me an example.
oh, I'm doing the laundry. I wasn't even thinking. I'm just doing it. He has done it so much.
So you're comparing laundry to the death of two people.
Yeah, you do it so much, like Hamlet did. You just get the ball rolling.
So you're saying he wasn't conscious when he got the ball rolling. He wasn't thinking about it, like it's a second nature?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Very well, thank you, counsel. The state, do you have any redirect for this witness?
Oh, yes.
Very well, you may ask your questions and redirect.
Horatio,
Yes.
so we talked about the letter, right?
Yes.
Would you think that the plan Hamlet had for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern was the acts of an insane, incapable man?
Oh, no.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. This witness be excused. Thank you, Horatio, for your testimony today. Does the state have another witness to call at this time?
Yes, I would like to call Laertes, Your Honor.
Laertes may come forward. You need to be sworn in by the bailiff. So let's do that for
Raise
you.
your right hand. You solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So, yeah.
Yes.
Very well. You may have a seat. And counsel, you may inquire on direct examination of Laertes.
Hello, Laertes.
Hello.
How was your relationship with Hamlet?
Not good. I hate him, kind of. He killed my father and completely ruined my family.
How did you react to your father's death?
I was pretty angry about it, finding out that my father was dead, coming back.
How did dealing with your father's death and then finding out your sister died made you feel?
That angered me even more, knowing that she was driven into madness by Polonius's death.
Was there anything that when you got back from your trip that your father sent you on that she mentioned?
I don't recall.
Use the deposition.
You may.
It well appears, but tell me, why you proceed not against these feats, so criminal and so capital in nature, as by your safety, wisdom, nothing else, you mainly were stripped.
So, Claudius, in that little paragraph, you were saying, in simpler terms, that Claudius didn't act on Hamlet killing Polonius. Was there any specific reason he told you why?
It's because they favor Hamlet. Everybody favors Hamlet.
Anyone specific who favors Hamlet?
Just mostly the people, everybody of Denmark.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you, counsel. We have a seat, and defense counsel may cross-examine Laertes at this time. Come on forward.
Your Honor, how do you pronounce your name?
Laertes.
Laertes. Okay. So, Laertes, after the horrible demise of your sister,
Yes.
did Hamlet ever jump in the grave of your
Yeah.
sister? And what do you take from that?
That he loved Ophelia.
So if you knew he loved Ophelia, why did you act out when he jumped into the grave?
Objection. As soon as facts not in it,
In evidence.
I never brought up the grave.
Very well.
It's in the deposition. Wait, sorry, Your Honor.
Go ahead and argue it. So she's rejected that you're bringing in facts on evidence in your response to the court?
It says right here, after Hamlet, wait, can I explain what it says, or do you want me to ask the question?
You actually have to respond to the objection that she's making
So,
to me.
that the facts aren't in evidence.
Right.
So, it says in here, the fair Ophelia, that's in the grave.
Oh, it was misquoting my sorry.
So,
But your objection is that he never testified about the grave, correct? Right. So she's objecting that you're bringing up evidence that she didn't bring up on direct, which is testimony about the grave.
yes.
So the court will actually sustain the objection because she didn't actually talk about the grave.
Okay.
So you have to go somewhere else with your testimony.
Okay. That's okay.
You may proceed.
We talked about Claudius, correct? And just to be clear, you talked about Claudius?
Yes.
Okay. What did you mean? I'm going to read this off for you in modern terms, if that's okay with everyone, not in Shakespearean. He got what he, this is Laertes speaking, so you. He got what he deserved. He mixed that poison himself. Please forgive me. It's him talking about Claudius. Hamlet, you're not responsible for the death of my father, and I'm not responsible for yours. What do you take from that?
That I forgave Hamlet.
For Polonius' death.
Yeah.
You forgave him? Do you think you said he wasn't responsible for it? You don't think he's responsible for Polonius' death?
I mean, he killed my father, but I think it was just heat of the moment.
Heat of the moment?
Yeah.
Like if he's
kind of
insane?
yeah.
Like if he's insane? Say it
Like,
again?
like forgiving Hamlet for what he's done, kind of.
So you're forgiving an insane man for killing your father?
I'm forgiving him for killing my father.
Objection. Misleading.
He may respond to the objection.
Since I already asked the question, what does that mean?
Well, the court this time will actually overrule the objection. It wasn't misleading. So you may proceed with your questions.
Okay. Laertes, your sister died. I'm very sorry. Do you think grief ever makes you act irrationally? This is just a question.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So irrational to become insane?
I don't think it could go that far, but
Okay. Yeah, that's all I have at this time.
Very well, thank you, counsel. The prosecution may have opportunity for redirect, so you may ask any questions that you have for him on redirect.
No redirection.
No? Very well. Laertes, thank you for your testimony today. You may be excused.
thank you, Your Honor.
And the prosecution may call its next witness.
I would like to call Claudius instead. Your
Very
Honor.
well. Claudius, come on forward. You need to be sworn in by our bailiff. Come on forward.
You solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Very well. Claudius, you may have a seat right here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Claudius,
Bless you.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
You may.
What was your relationship with the defendant?
Well, Hamlet is my nephew / stepson.
Okay. How did Hamlet seem to behave once he returned from his school in England?
Well, after his father's death, he'd seemed to be a little sad in the ways that he would dress in all dark clothes.
Okay. And what did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, the two schoolboys that you essentially hired to spy on him, what did they tell you about the way he acted?
They said that he was acting very crafty and aloft, but that he was purposely acting that way.
Okay. As if he was trying to get somewhere, trying to manipulate them into doing something?
Yes.
Okay. What was your relationship with Polonius?
He was my advisor.
Okay. And did he have any interactions with Hamlet?
He did.
Okay. What types of reactions? What was his relationship?
Well, Hamlet was in love with Polonius' daughter, so, and on multiple occasions they spoke because of the relationship between there.
Okay. Okay, how did you react in learning that Hamlet was possibly in love, in real love with Ophelia?
I felt a little enraged.
And why was that?
I'm not too sure, but I just felt a little enraged about Hamlet's love for Ophelia.
Okay. So during about midway through the issue at hand, there was a play that went on. Am I correct in stating so?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And from my understanding, you stopped the play.
Correct.
Why was that?
I felt a little sick.
Okay. What about the play? Or was it just you not feeling well, or was there something about the play that made you feel this way?
I felt sick that I felt a little sick and just felt that I couldn't continue with the play.
Okay. How did you react in learning that Hamlet, apologies, what did you do after you found out that Hamlet killed Polonius?
Well, I felt to save him a little, I thought it would be best to send him off to England with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to have a fun time.
Okay. May I present some evidence?
You may.
Okay.
You can hand it to the bailiff if you'd like, and the bailiff can present it.
Does this ring look familiar to you, Claudius?
Yes.
What is it?
The ring that Hamlet wears.
Okay. Is there anything particularly special about this ring?
Not in case, most of those rings are they can be used as seals for an envelope.
Okay. And would this seal have been used to put on the letter that you sent with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to England?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Would you like that admitted into evidence? Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
No objection. Very well. This will be marked as exhibits, State's Exhibit number 2, and it will be admitted into evidence with the court. Very well. You may conduct cross-examination, counsel.
Officer. Your Honor. King, like your crown.
Thank you.
So, Hamlet's stepfather / uncle / king / whatever. With the sudden marriage of Hamlet, the widow, Gertrude, Do you think that made young Hamlet act any differently?
Just a little bit.
Like maybe a depression?
Well, I feel like it'd have a little to do, but most of it would be dealing with his father's death.
Okay. So talking to Hamlet, you said, "How is it the clouds hang over you?" You're talking to him about his depression. What does that mean? What did you mean by saying that?
I'm not too sure.
Could you see that he was visually depressed? Because you said it right here. How is it the clouds hang over you?
Well, in ways, yes, because he's dressed in dark clothes.
Okay. Talking, when you sent Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and Hamlet to England, you said you wanted them to have fun, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna quote you here. "I like him not, nor stands it safe with us." So basically you're saying he wasn't safe with you. "To let his madness range, therefore prepare you. I, your commission, will forthwith dispatch, and he to England shall along with you. The terms of our state may not endure hazard so dangerous as doth our grow out of his lunacies." You used words such as madness and lunacies. What do you mean by that?
Can you restate the quote, please?
The quote, please? Okay. So, "I like him not, nor it stands safe with us, to let his madness range. Therefore prepares you. I, your commission, will forthwith dispatch, and he to send England shall along with you. The terms of our state may not endure hazard so dangerous, and doth hourly grow out of his lunacies." If you need me to restate again, I'll use modern English, but that help?
Yes.
So what did you mean by madness and lunacies?
Well, I felt very scared about him when I heard what had happened.
Mhm.
And so I thought it'd be best if he wasn't around for the time being.
So, you thought it was best to send a crazy person off to England? Because you said the word lunacy.
Yes.
Okay. So you agree he was crazy?
A little, yes.
A little, yes. Okay. Your Honor, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you, counsel. Prosecution, any redirect?
Yes.
Very well, you may inquire.
Okay. The work of the play and the work of the play that Hamlet helped rewrite, would you say that this could be done by a lunatic?
No.
Okay, that's all I have.
Very well, thank you. Claudius, or King Claudius, thank you for your testimony today. You may be returned to your seat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, the prosecution may call its next witness.
I will call Guildenstern to this time.
Guildenstern may come forward. I need to be sworn in, Guildenstern, and our deputy will do that for you.
You solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Very well, Guildenstern, please have a seat. And counsel, you may inquire of this witness on direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is your relationship with the defendant, Guildenstern?
Hamlet and I were childhood friends.
Okay. And how did you meet him?
We spent our childhood together.
Okay. Were you two close at all?
Yes.
Okay. What is your reason for coming to see the king and queen?
The king and the queen summoned Rosencrantz and I to come and speak with Hamlet.
Okay. Did you know at all why they would call you?
We didn't know until we got there.
Okay. Was there anything specifically that they asked you to do?
They asked us to spy on Hamlet.
Okay. Do you know why they asked you to?
They weren't sure what was going on with Hamlet, and they wanted us to find out.
Okay. How did reuniting with Hamlet go?
He acted like a gentleman, but at the same time, it seemed like he was forcing himself to be nice to us.
Okay. As if he wasn't pleased with your presence?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. How did Hamlet behave when you two were together?
Well, like I said, he was like a gentleman, but he didn't seem like he wanted us around.
Okay.
He kept his, when we asked questions, he kept his answers short and simple.
Okay. Was there anything specific that stood out to you?
I will say, oh no.
Okay. Would I be able to use the piece of evidence?
Yeah. Which one? Number 2? The ring or
The ring.
There you go.
Does this ring look familiar to you?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Where have you seen it before?
Hamlet was wearing it the day of we took the ship to England.
Okay. And from my understanding, you were delivering a message to the King of England as well. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. If you look closely at the ring, does that resemble the stamp that was put on the letter?
Yes.
Okay. And theoretically, if the letter were replaced, would this ring be able to seal it?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. And cross-examination of this witness. You may inquire.
Guildenstern, correct?
Yes, correct.
Can I call you Thing 2? Because that's how we did it in class. So Rosencrantz is Thing 1, you're Thing 2. Okay. It's easier to say. So, Thing 2. Claudius asked you to spy on... So, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Why did Claudius want you to spy on?
Well, they weren't sure what was going on with Hamlet at the time, so they wanted us to find out.
Okay. Can you recall any conversations you had with Claudius, like word for word he said about Hamlet and spying on him?
I don't recall word for word.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you something Claudius said when he put you up to the task. And he states, "And you can't put your heads together and figure out why he's acting so dazed and confused, ruining his peace and quiet with such dangerous displays of lunacy." To compound on that, do you think that you spied on him because Claudius thought he demonstrated dangerous displays of lunacy?
I wouldn't say of lunacy, but he was definitely mad.
Mad? What do you mean mad?
Well, a lot of tragic events had happened in his life, as you well know. So, of course he was mad that his mother remarried his uncle, and his girlfriend Ophelia broke up with him.
Okay, just for clarity, mad, do you mean angry or do you mean kind of crazy?
Angry.
Angry, okay. So you don't think you spied on him because he was dazed and confused and had dangerous displays of lunacy?
No.
Despite Claudius saying all that?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have for you.
Very well, thank you, counsel. Prosecution, any redirected questions for Guildenstern?
Yes.
You may inquire.
In the deposition, it shows that Hamlet was aware of what you and Rosencrantz were sent to do. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were aware of this. Did you plan to do anything about it?
Well, I didn't think that it was gonna affect him in an extreme way.
Okay. And would you say that an intelligent person or someone let me ask this again. Do you think an insane person would be able to tell whether you were what you were up to or not?
I think they will be able to tell because of course they can tell, and
If they're insane?
yeah.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. Thank you for your testimony, Guildenstern. You may return to your seat as well in the gallery.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the prosecution's next witness,
I will call Rosencrantz.
Rosencrantz. Rosencrantz, please come forward.
You solemnly swear that the evidence you should give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Very well. Please have a seat. And you may inquire on direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. What was your relationship with Hamlet?
We were childhood friends.
Okay. And where did you meet?
We just met through our parents just because we were childhood friends.
Okay. Were you close to Hamlet?
Yes.
Okay. What was your reason for coming to Denmark to see the king and queen?
They just wanted Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to go.
Okay. Do you know why they sent for you?
They wanted to... Can you ask that again?
Do you know why they sent for you?
They wanted us to see what was up with him.
Okay. Was there anything specific that they asked you to look for?
Just if he was acting differently.
How so?
Just if he was acting different towards just anyone.
Okay. What were some of the things that you found?
What do you mean?
How was he acting?
He was just acting mad towards people.
Okay. Mad as in what sense? Just angry?
Yes.
Okay. How was it when you reunited with Hamlet?
He was acting like super nice, but it seemed like he was forcing himself too.
Okay. And would you say that this is something that a lunatic would be able to do?
No.
Okay. How did Hamlet seem to behave when you guys were together, other than just reuniting with him?
Like I said, he was just acting mad to people, and he was acting like nicer when he was just acting nicer.
Okay. Would you say that he was up to something?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the piece of evidence again real quick?
Number 2.
Yep.
There you go.
And just as with Guildenstern, does this ring look familiar?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you recognize it from?
He was wearing it
When?
before I went to England.
Okay. And if you look closer at the signet, right there, does that signet look familiar?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you see it?
On the letter
What letter?
that he wrote.
That he wrote?
Yes.
Okay. What was the letter that he wrote used for?
To kill Guildenstern and Rosencrantz.
Okay. So the signet that was used to stamp the letter that you were carrying to England, does it resemble this one?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your
Very
Honor.
well. Thank you. And on cross-examination, on behalf of Hamlet, you may inquire.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
So, thing 1, because thing 2's over here. How did you know it was in the letter?
What do you mean? I didn't say it was
So-
in the letter.
Yeah, when you're talking to our prosecuting attorney here, you said you knew it was in the letter. You knew the contents of the letter after he showed you the ring. How did you know?
Because he was wearing it.
No, how did you know it was in the letter, not the ring? Sorry.
I didn't say it was in the letter.
Well, he asked you if you knew the contents of the letter.
Which letter?
The letter that he used the ring for. To seal it. The letter that led to your demise. How did you know? What was in the, how did you know it was in the letter?
It was in the book.
It was in the book. I can't find anywhere in the book where you knew where the letter was, so if you knew where the letter was, why aren't you alive still?
Because he killed it.
Okay. So earlier you said that Hamlet was nice, right?
He was acting nice.
He's
towards
acting
us,
nice, okay.
Forcing himself.
How do you know he's forcing himself?
Because it seemed like it.
Seemed like it, okay. So like a hunch, an instinct.
Yeah, you can force yourself to be nice to
Oh
someone.
yeah, So, do you think him acting angry is a sign of depression because you thought he was a nice person at first? Because lashing out is a sign of mania or depression. So what do you think that is?
He was just acting angry.
So he was acting angry?
Yeah.
Kind of crazy?
No.
Why so?
You can act angry.
Was he a nice angry? Like he's being like a good angry?
Well, he was angry at first, but then he forced himself to be nice.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Very well. Thank you. Redirect.
Yes, sir. Okay. You say that Hamlet. Apologies. So he acted crazy sometimes, correct? Okay. Was there anything specific that he said that made you think otherwise?
I don't recall.
Okay. Right here, in a conversation between you, Rosencrantz, and Hamlet, he said, "I'm only crazy sometimes. At other times, I know what's what." Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you say that when he said that, he was acting crazy?
No.
Would you say that he knew what he was doing?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. Rosencrantz, thank you for your testimony. You may return back to your seat.
Thank you.
And the prosecution's next witness? No more witnesses. The state rests at this time. Very well. And the defense, it's your opportunity now to present evidence on behalf of Hamlet. You may call your first witness if you have any witnesses to present.
Your Honor, may I call Marcellus?
You may. Marcellus, please come forward. You need to be sworn in. We'll have our deputy here swear you in as a witness.
Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Very well. Please have a seat. And counsel, you may inquire on direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
What was your relationship to Hamlet?
Subject to the palace.
Okay. Did you in fact see a ghost?
Yeah.
Did you speak to this ghost?
No, I did not.
And did Hamlet speak to the ghost?
I'm not so sure.
Okay. Did Hamlet ask you to swear to anything?
Yes, he did.
What did Hamlet ask you to swear to?
Swear to his sword.
Okay, when he asked you to swear this, was he acting erratic?
Yes, he was. He was talking in thin air and running around.
And what did he ask you to swear about?
About last night. To not talk about last night.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. No more questions.
Thank you very much. On cross-examination. Counsel, you may proceed.
Hello, Marcellus. How are you today?
Pretty good.
So, was there anyone else with you when you saw the ghost?
Horatio.
Horatio, anyone else?
Bernardo.
So, all of you were around when you saw the ghost.
Yes.
You saw the ghost.
Yes, we saw the ghost.
Okay. So Hamlet made you swear to his sword?
Mm-hmm. He did.
Okay. So you were able to see the ghost?
Yes, I was able to see the ghost.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. And hold on a second. Are there any questions on redirect for Marcellus?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. You may inquire.
Marcellus,
Yes.
about how many times would you say you've seen the ghost?
Plenty of times.
Okay. Do you know what Hamlet was thinking when he saw the ghost?
No, I don't know.
Okay, no more questions, Your Honor.
Very well. May this witness be excused? Defense? Yes, you may. Have a seat. All right, the next witness for the defense?
Can I call it Polonius?
You may. Polonius? come on forward. You'll need to be sworn in as well.
Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you should give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Claudius, have a seat.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, Polonius, what's your relationship to Hamlet?
He is my daughter's boyfriend.
Did you tell your daughter to break up with him?
Yes, I did.
And were you there when Ophelia tried to give his love letters back?
I was.
Okay, so you often spied on young Hamlet. Why was this?
I saw that he was acting insane, and so I thought that I would keep an eye on him.
Was it a concern for your daughter's safety?
Yes,
Okay. Do you care greatly about your reputation?
I do.
Would your daughter being with Hamlet have ruined that reputation?
Yes, because if my daughter was seen with an insane man, then that would have ruined my reputation.
Can you tell us what you mean when you say insane?
He was yelling a lot at her and would often just say stuff and then walk away without, meaning it.
Polonius, have you ever had your heart broken?
I have.
Did having your heart broken change you in any way?
It did. It made me act out irrationally, and if I was in the right state of mind, I would have never done the things that I did.
Was Hamlet in love with your daughter?
Crazy in love.
Okay, and when you stated, "I will be brief, your noble son is mad," mad I call it, for to define true madness. What did you mean by that?
Can you say that again, please?
I will be brief, your noble son is mad, mad I call it, for to define true madness.
I meant that he was acting crazy towards my daughter.
Okay, no more questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you for the questioning. And on cross-examination on behalf of the prosecution.
So you say that Hamlet was acting insane, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What exactly led you to believe this?
Well, I would often hide behind curtains when when Hamlet was speaking to my daughter Ophelia, and I would see the way that he acted around her.
Okay. Did you believe that although he may have been acting crazy, there was a method behind it?
No, because of the death of his father, and there was a lot of incidents that drove him to being crazy.
Okay, here in the deposition right here, I actually have you saying, let me find it real quick. It actually says that although he's mad, there is a method to it. Would you like to see this line?
Sure.
So, would you believe that although he was acting a little bit crazy, he had a method?
I don't believe so.
Okay. How was it when you were interacting with him?
He would seem there.
He would seem there,
Yes.
as if he knew what he was doing?
To me, yes.
To you, yes?
Mhm.
Okay. And what makes you think differently towards your daughter? Could he not know what he was doing there?
Yes, because I would hide behind curtains and watch.
Okay. So you would listen in on the conversations between him and your daughter,
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay. And do you think there was anything specific that he was trying to do?
I don't think so.
Okay. Permission to get evidence.
Okay.
The letter to Ophelia from Hamlet.
Can I read it?
Yes.
Okay. Some true Shakespeare right here.
Very well, you may have, this will be marked as State's Exhibit number 3. Yeah, you can hand it to the witness, thank you.
Does this letter look familiar?
Yes, it does.
And what can you say about this letter?
This letter is one that
Your Honor, I'd like to object. That's beyond the scope.
Counsel, you may respond to the objection.
Okay, what do I do?
So he's arguing that it's beyond the scope of evidence, and so you have to respond to try to show why he's wrong, why it's not beyond the scope.
Okay, this shows the relationship between Hamlet and Ophelia.
Counsel, is your objection anything in support?
Do you remember talking about letters?
No, I do not.
Love letters.
All right, well, I think there was some discussion about Ophelia, though. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so we'll consider it within the scope of the cross-examination. You may continue with your inquiry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your objection is overruled. Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay, so this letter was written to Ophelia from Hamlet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what can you tell me about this letter?
I told Ophelia to give the letters back to Hamlet.
Okay, and as you can see, it's kind of been repaired from being ripped up. Do you remember how the damage happened to it, how it was ripped up?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you told Hamlet, or you told Ophelia to give the letters back to Hamlet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And by doing that, you are telling her to essentially break up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that these actions that Hamlet responded with were that of an insane man or someone who was just simply reacting and trying to...
I believe it was an insane man.
Okay. And what leads you to believe that?
Ophelia told me that he stood in front of her and just stared at her and didn't say anything and then walked away.
Okay, and you don't believe that could have been anything, a plot or a ploy to try and get her to...
I believe that was insanity.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well. And just for the record, the court is not admitting number 3, it's just used for impeachment today. So it's not into evidence, it's an impeachment document. You may refer to it as well if you'd like to, counsel, if you want. You may come forward and ask any questions on redirect.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Polonius, can you read this for me right here?
I can. Come go with me, I will seek the king. This is very ecstasy of love, whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings, as oft as any passion under heaven that does affect our natures. I am sorry. What have you given him? Any hard words of late?
So in other words, are you saying that love craziness is a very violent emotion?
Yes.
And it can cause people to self-destruct?
Yes.
And it'll cause them to change?
Yes.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Polonius, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
You may return to your seat. The next witness for the defense.
Can I call up Ophelia?
You may.
Thank you.
You solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes.
Ophelia, you may have a seat here. You may inquire, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is your relationship to Hamlet?
He was the love of my life, and it ripped my heart out when he pushed me away.
Thank you for being here, Ophelia. It must be very hard. Did Hamlet love you?
Absolutely.
How did he show you this?
He sent me letters.
Did you love him?
Yes.
So why did your father tell you to sever the relationship with Hamlet?
Because he was royal, and he didn't want to ruin his own reputation.
Can you explain to us the night Hamlet came into your study?
He came in, and he looked distraught and distant, and he grabbed my arms and then left without looking where he was going.
And what was the expression on his face?
Distraught.
Did he hurt you that night?
No.
Was there a time in the courtroom when he acted completely different?
Yes, he was energized and very loud.
Did he hurt you that night?
No.
Did he come close to hurting you?
Yes, he was pushing me around.
Did he yell and scream at you?
Yes.
Was this the yelling of a man who was angry or a man who was insane?
I think that his mind was overwhelmed from the death of his father than the remarriage of his mother. And I think it would make me go insane too.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Well, thank you, counsel. And on cross-examination, counsel, prosecution.
How are you today, Ophelia?
Good.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Would you say that you truly loved Hamlet?
Yes,
Would you say he truly loved you?
absolutely.
He absolutely loved you.
Mhm.
Would you say he was very affectionate towards you?
Yes.
May I use the ripped up letter as
You may. Number 3. There you go.
to your best ability? Will you read that? Take it out if you can't read it.
To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautiful Ophelia, doubt thou the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt the truth to be a liar, but never doubt love. Never doubt I love. O dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers. I have not art to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best, O most best believe it. Adieu. Thine even evermore, my dear lady, whilst this machine is to him.
Thank you. So, in that letter, would it say, in summary, that Hamlet truly loved you,
Yes,
and he would most likely do anything to protect you,
yes,
maybe push you away?
yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Well, thank you. And on redirect, counsel,
Yes, Your Honor.
you're welcome to come forward.
Ophelia, is Hamlet the same man now that you fell in love with?
No,
Would you call him angry or mentally disturbed?
mentally disturbed.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. Ophelia, you may be excused. Thank you for your testimony today. And the next witness for the defense?
May I call up Gertrude, Your Honor?
You may.
Gertrude!
Gertrude, you please come forward and be sworn in.
Do solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Very well, please have a seat, Gertrude. And you may inquire on direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is your relationship to Hamlet?
I'm Hamlet's mother.
What was Hamlet like as a kid?
Hamlet was a very happy kid. He was calm, never quick to get into arguments. He was loved by the people and he loved everyone too.
Would you describe your relationship as a close one?
Yes, I would.
Is it true that you married very quickly after your husband's death?
That is true.
What was Hamlet's reaction to you marrying Claudius?
He was distraught, irrational, just wasn't himself.
Is there a time Hamlet's behavior scared you?
Yes,
Was there a time he was acting strange and you asked him to come into your room?
yes.
What happened in your room?
I realized I pushed him over the edge. My sudden remarrying to his uncle, the death of his father, his girlfriend pushing him away was just too much for him.
How did Hamlet talk to you in your room?
He yelled at me, called me incestuous.
Did he attack you about jumping into bed with your brother-in-law?
Yes,
Did he attack you out of anger or out of insanity?
pure insanity.
Okay, is this the son that you've raised?
Absolutely not. This is not the son I know and love. He would never do anything to anyone.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. And on cross-examination, the state.
Hello, Gertrude.
Well,
In the bedroom, was there anything that happened in the bedroom?
yes,
Care to elaborate?
Hamlet was talking to someone that I couldn't even see or hear.
Who was that person?
He said it was his dad.
Stat.
His dead dad.
Hamlet had a conversation with you about your behavior, didn't he? With his uncle father.
Claudius, yeah.
You did? In the book, or the disposition, you say, "Oh, Hamlet, stop. You're making me look into my very soul, where the mark of sin are so thick and black, they will never be washed away." So you are admitting that it was wrong of you to marry his uncle father.
Yes, I did realize that.
Would you say they were the words of a madman, or the words of a man who knew the truth, because he, unlike you and Claudius, knew the difference between right and wrong?
I would say it's from the words of a madman.
The words of a madman?
After everything he went through, just pushed him over the edge. I feel like that would happen to everyone.
Hamlet told you in here that, here, let me move my sticky note out of the way. He told you, "A murderer and a villain, a lowlife who's not worth the 20th of a 10,000 for your first husband, the worst of kings and the thief of the throne, who took the precious crown from shelf in your pocket," and you're telling him to stop while he's talking to you, right? In the bedroom, he's telling you all these things that you did wrong, and with your responses, you're agreeing with him.
Yes, I realized marrying my in-law was not a good idea.
Was there anyone else in the room with you two?
Polonius was behind the curtain.
He was?
Yes.
Did anything happen with Polonius?
Your Honor, I'd like to object. That's beyond the scope.
Counsel, any response to that?
The witness mentioned that there was someone else in the room. I was just wondering if there was anything going on with the witness.
The court will overrule the objection to this testimony. Thank you. You may proceed with your question.
Was there... That's what I asked. Was there anything else that happened with Polonius in the room?
Hamlet got shook after our argument and went to protect me. And he pulled out his sword and stabbed Polonius.
He stabbed Polonius.
Yes, out of,
Did you call for help?
happened so sudden.
So you and Hamlet stood there and had that conversation about, from him to you, about all the things you've done, and you had a body sitting there.
Yes.
And didn't really care if Polonius died.
My son was more important at that time.
It didn't seem to faze Hamlet that he killed Polonius.
He just was not in the right state of mind. I don't think he realized what he did.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. Any questions on redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well, come forward.
you mentioned that Polonius was in the room, correct?
Yes.
And did Hamlet know Polonius was in the room?
He did not know.
And you are the queen, correct?
Yes, I am the queen.
Don't you think anyone would act to protect the queen?
Yes.
Okay. And you said earlier that Hamlet is mad. Can you define mad for us?
Same, just not in the right space.
Okay, no more questions.
Well, thank you. And let's see, Gertrude, thank you for your testimony today. You may
Thank
return
you.
to your seat. Next witness for the defense.
Your Honor, I'd like to bring the defendant up.
Hamlet, you come forward. I need to be sworn in as well, Hamlet, so please. Yeah, there we go.
Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Very well, Hamlet, please have a seat. And counsel, you may inquire of this witness.
So, it has been declared that you were the only one that heard the ghost, correct?
Yes.
What did this ghost tell you?
He told me to kill King Claudius.
Do you hear many ghosts tell you to kill people often?
Ghosts tell me things all the time.
This is one ghost?
Yeah. King Hamlet.
Was it through your whole life, or was it recently?
Just recently.
Okay. So who was there when you first saw the ghost?
Bernardo, Marcellus, Horatio.
Okay, and I believe we talked about swearing onto a sword. Horatio and Marcellus was there. Did the ghost talk to you then?
Yes, I made them swear by the sword not to tell anybody about this night, and the ghost was telling me to tell them to swear.
Did Marcellus and Horatio hear this ghost?
They did not. They were acting confused, and they
Confused,
were
like they didn't hear the ghost?
not at all.
Okay. You go on tangents often about how depressed you are and like you're to be or not to be one.
Yeah.
Have you ever had suicidal thoughts?
I have.
Are those normal?
Well, in the past few months of my life, I've had a very hard time. I lost my dad. My mother quickly remarried as if my dad didn't mean anything to her at all. And then my girlfriend broke up with me.
That must be very hard. Like, you really need help, don't you?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's all I wanted this time.
Thank you for your questions. And cross-examination on behalf of the state.
Yes, I can.
Very well. You may inquire.
How are you today, Hamlet?
Good.
So, you were with a group of people who all saw the ghost.
Right?
So the ghost isn't this thing that only you saw, everyone saw it.
No, everyone saw it. But nobody can hear it except for me.
Okay.
Which is strange. Don't you think?
I'm being questioned here. So the ghost took you aside and had a conversation with you. You said
Yes.
that you were the only one who heard the conversation between you and the ghost.
Right.
Do you think at that time that maybe, since you were dealing with the grief of your father and the grief of your mother remarrying to your uncle, that maybe it was kind of what you wanted to hear at the time? That maybe you were using the ghost as justification for that?
It very much could have been, because I was feeling a bit crazy. Maybe the ghost didn't say that. I have no clue at this moment. But I know that I think he told me to kill Claudius. It could have been what I wanted to hear, and I could have just been making it up, but that's all in lines of insanity.
So you're saying you're insane.
Yes.
You're saying that you didn't think that you were responsible for anything?
Yeah, I'd like to
You're
object.
insane.
Confusing. I don't know what that question was.
So, counsel, you may respond to the objection, or you can just rephrase your question.
I'll rephrase my question.
Very well. Overruled. You may rephrase.
Would you say that you were insane because of all the actions that led up to this point? You seeing the ghost. You being pulled aside with the ghost.
I don't understand the question still.
Would you say that because of the events that happened before you saw the ghost, it would drive you to be insane with the ghost?
Your Honor, I'd like to object again. I'm still confused.
Okay, let's move on. I'm moving on.
Proceed.
Okay.
The objection is sustained now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well,
So, you were able to see the ghost. Everyone there was able to see the ghost, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Okay, no one heard the conversation.
Nope.
So, you were the only one who heard the conversation with the ghost. No one else did, so no one knows that's what the ghost
Nobody
told
knows
you.
what the ghost told me. The ghost told me to kill King Claudius, though.
No further questions, Your Honor.
very well. Thank you, counsel. And on redirect.
Poor Hamlet. They're just badgering you, aren't they?
Yes.
Do you see this ghost a lot?
I
see
do,
him a lot?
all the time. I even talked to him before we came here today.
Really? What do you say?
We just have normal
Objection.
conversations.
He's insane.
Beyond the scope.
Counsel, in response?
I mean, I was asking him if he's seen ghosts. We've been talking about ghosts all the time.
Before today.
Yeah, I'll. Do you think
I
he's
saw
seen
ghosts
ghosts?
all the time.
Earlier today.
Yeah.
Very well. The court will sustain the objection. That's beyond the scope of the line of questioning this afternoon. You may proceed forward with your next question.
Okay. They talked to you about the people seeing a ghost. I'm just going to read you some dialogue real quick.
Okay.
As soon as I can find it, of course. Sorry. Big book. Okay. So Marcellus and Bernardo, they see this ghost, but they ask him to identify himself. They don't say anything. Do you think that they thought it was a ghost?
Well, they did say he was dressed up in war clothes.
War clothes, okay, yeah.
But it seemed like it was the clothes of the king, so there was no, like, exact explanation of whether it could or couldn't be.
Okay. Why do you think this ghost is in war clothes? Was it maybe because Lord Fortinbras or something?
Yes,
You can answer.
I'm actually not totally sure why the ghost was in war clothes.
But you are sure that this ghost was your dead father?
Yes, I talked to him.
Okay. You know, that's on you.
Very well.
Thank you, Hamlet.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony, Hamlet. You may return back by your attorneys. Any further witnesses on behalf of the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. This time we'll hear closing arguments. We'll start with the prosecution. And you may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that prosecution can, and our witnesses can attest to the fact that Hamlet knew what he was doing and that his actions were affecting other people in his life, and he knew what these actions were doing against him, and he was intentionally doing these actions to get a response and for further his agenda to get closer to Claudius. I do not believe he was insane, simply because these actions all needed to have a very clear mind to think of and to be able to come up with the plans that he did, such as with the play. Rewriting the script and whatnot, giving it to the actors so then they can change the script. As well as the words that he told his mother in the bedroom, saying that even a lunatic couldn't repeat what he had just said, but he could. And with that, I rest my case that the defendant is not insane and in fact knew what he was doing.
Cool. Thank you. And on behalf of the defense, closing argument.
Greetings, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the late Polonius said, "Though this be madness, to Queen Gertrude Polonius even said, "I will be brief, your noble son is mad." Then later Gertrude exclaims during an argument between her and her son, "Alas, he is mad." During Ophelia's funeral, young Hamlet jumps into the grave of the dead lover, as stated in the deposition. King Claudius, seeing this, said to Laertes, "Oh, he is mad." These are only a small fraction of what has been said regarding Hamlet's mental state. The accounts of mania and depression are not stated lightly. These statements are backed up and corroborated. They're corroborated with the ramblings of a madman, a man who, quote, would stare into thin air and shout, as if he was talking to someone. A man who would give bizarre answers to questions, a crazed man who would give perverse and inappropriate comments at random. A man who, when standing over the dead body of Polonius, faced with the reality that just came to pass, makes a joke mocking the man that just died. His mother brings attention to this bloody deed, but Hamlet answers as if he doesn't know the magnitude of what had just been committed. He answers by comparing a man's death to the marriage of his mother to his uncle. As if in his fractured mind they're even comparable. Your Honor, is the death of a king's servant and an unwanted stepfather even comparable? It's not. He is a man who admits he acted on an unwarranted impulse when he fabricated a letter for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that soon led to their demise. When writing this letter, he did not think it through, hence the word impulse. It was all on impulse. I believe insanity is acting on impulse, even impulses that ultimately put two souls to death. Hamlet is provingly mentally disconnected with his actions. Many of these disconnected actions harm other people. But was young Hamlet always mentally disconnected to his physical actions? The answer is no. His loving mother Gertrude testified that Hamlet was a happy child and not quick to argue. But do happy people go on tangents about how self-inflicted death would be easier than living? Happy people do not state how unmotivated or worthless they are. That's depression, that's even mania. Insanity, if you will. But like King Gertrude said, he was not always this erratic, bitter, and disconnected. This all stemmed from traumatic experiences, such as the untimely death of a father, king, and mentor. Or even, before the wounds of his father's passing have healed, he quickly finds out his mother marries his late king's brother. Let's also add the forced separation of the woman he loves. After all of this came to fruition, the ghost of his dead father gives this mentally unstable man instructions to kill the king of Denmark. Mentally stable people don't take orders from the ghost, Your Honor. Your Honor, mentally stable men who commit crimes should be responsible for their actions. But men who are mentally unstable shouldn't be punished for their crimes, in which they are mentally incapable of being responsible for. Those such cases are ones of pure insanity. Hamlet is one of these severe cases. Your Honor, true justice wouldn't be putting a mentally ill man in harsh prison conditions, but true justice in Hamlet's case would be the mental rehabilitation by seasoned psychiatrists who specialize in serious cases of depression and mania, which Hamlet suffers from. I'll say it again, depression and mania. Your Honor, given the evidence, I implore you to put Hamlet in a mental rehabilitation center where he can get true mental help. I rest my case.
Very well. Is there a redirect on a rebuttal argument on this, or just two? Okay. Well, both sides of this case have been argued and presented very well. The court recognizes that we're here today for the murder of certain individuals and certain people by Hamlet. He's on trial today. The court is very impressed with the preparation by both the prosecution as well as the defense. It is evident to the court that the attorneys on each side were very well prepared and knew their subject matter well, which is a credit to each one of you for your preparation today. The court also appreciates the witnesses, and frankly, this is a court of law, and so the court has to weigh the credibility of each witness as they testify. And some of the testimony was highly relevant, and some of it was not as relevant. Some of it was very credible, and some of it wasn't as much credible. The court recognizes that there are two burdens of proof here today. One is for the state. The state has the burden of proof of proving through its evidence that Hamlet committed murder, and that he had the intent to do so. The other burden of proof is with the defense. They have affirmative defenses today, and the affirmative defense specifically that they have is to try to prove that Hamlet is insane. Absent that evidence, then the court cannot consider whether or not that offense has been proven without the evidence presented. And so, in reviewing all the evidence, the court has before it two items of evidence that were admitted into court. Exhibit number 1, which is the letter from Hamlet to Horatio, that shows the mindset of Hamlet at the time that he wrote these letters, which were also at the same time that the deaths occurred. The other piece of evidence is evidence marked as State Exhibit number 2, which is the ring with the signet, showing that this is something that legitimately came from Hamlet. That was his writing of letters. The other piece of evidence that was introduced, it was not admitted for the court to consider, but it is something that can be used for impeachment. And impeachment goes to trying to show that someone might not be credible. And the testimony that's being provided may have some, for lack of a better word, holes in their testimony. But frankly, to show that they're not credible. That's the purpose of impeachment. And this is the letter from Hamlet to Ophelia showing that he is of a sound mind. At least that was the intent of the impeachment testimony. And so the court heard a testimony on behalf of the state from Horatio, from Laertes, Claudius, Guildenstern, and Rosencrantz. Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, I guess they have nicknames by Thing 1 and Thing 2. But nevertheless, they are Guildenstern, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern. On behalf of the defense, and in addition to those testimony as the exhibits 1 and 2. The defense, in trying to show that the state has not met its burden, and also to present evidence on behalf of the affirmative defenses, presented Marcellus, Ophelia, Gertrude, and the defendant himself, Hamlet, which is highly unusual. It's very, it's a strategic decision to put the defense on, and the defendant on, and that was very brave to do so. The court will find that the state did a very good job of presenting its case. It was very straightforward on how it presented its evidence, and it will note that cross-examination, which is very difficult to do. So the attorneys that did the cross-examination, which is all 4 of you, cross-examination is very difficult, very difficult. And to do as well as you did, this court was very impressed with that. The court did make a note that the cross-examination of Rosencrantz was excellent work. So counsel, good job on that cross-examination. And also the cross-examination done by involving Gertrude and Hamlet were also very good. So presenting your own case, it's easier to do than cross-examining on the other. But weighing all the evidence and determining whether or not Hamlet was of a sound mind, whether or not he had intent to commit murder, and whether or not he was guilty, the court, in a very close case, will find that the state did prove its case, that it's beyond a reasonable doubt, that he is of a sound mind, and specifically, the court will rely upon his testimony that he admitted that not only did he see the ghosts, but his friends saw the ghosts, and therefore he knew what he's doing. He's not just saying good. He says only they talk to each other, but that is of an intent to try to have the court run off into a different direction, and whereas the admission that he saw ghosts and there was testimony otherwise that he saw ghosts is sufficient evidence to say that he is of a sound mind, and that the fact that he was trying to say that he only had instructions was to try to throw out the scent. So therefore the court will find that Hamlet is guilty of murder and ask that the bailiff take him into custody.
Run.
Handcuffs. Handcuffs. That's all I'm just saying.
Handcuffs. Now on a side note, take off the serious hat. Very steady Eddie, great work. Very good work. Both of you were very prepared. The flamboyance was excellent. And the acting was, I will say, the attorney in the room that was with me, Oftentimes that is enough to get a jury to see something else and go with what you're trying to present. And they will follow that at times. This case it didn't work, but the lawyering was excellent, both sides. Different styles though, so some styles are very kind of just meat and potatoes, straightforward. Other ones are much more just out there and just more exuberant. They both work. They both work, and there's not a right or wrong way to do this. And you both, all of you. In fact, it's great to kind of have like a contrast, because yours was much more out there, and yours was much more steady. I like it both. There's not a right or a wrong, and both of yours, of course, was very steady on each of your presentations. But the ability to connect to an audience and a jury, and you've all did it, but yours is a different way of doing it, but that works too. So, and what I was impressed with was that each one of you, as you did your style, was very much, you knew your stuff. It's one thing to go out there and try to maybe fake walk it and just kind of like do it without knowing it, but that's not going to usually go well. It's obvious to me that all of you were prepared. And to the witnesses, great work. It's not easy to testify, is it? It's hard to be a witness. And each one of you did it, it's hard to remember lines and what you did, but you knew your stuff. And shout out to all of you for that. I was impressed. So with that, you need to do the perp walk. Gotta go walk.
Thank you so much, Judge Abendroth, our attorney, Mr. Bischoff, Mr. Hanson. Thank you very, very much. Your parents, thank you so much. Hamlet was a fun read, but this is the whole point of why we do what we do in English 12. And if you can't make British literature come to life, it's not worth reading. And I think these kids did a beautiful job proving they know the literature and the relevance of it, even today, even if it is in Denmark. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with your students. If I could, please, I'd like a group picture with the judge and our lawyers, and if they can get the handcuffs back off of Hamlet.
Parents, you should be proud of your kids.
Because you guys forgot to bring up the physical models.
If you guys would have brought that up, I was so shocked that you guys didn't bring that up, because that was what I was ready to grill Hamlet for. So when you guys didn't bring up the bedroom scene with Hamlet, I was so ready to nail him for that. And then you didn't, and I was like, dang it!